So here you are again. It's a familiar situation, Sunday morning. Maybe you don't like what your projections are telling you.
Yeah.
Looking for a sleeper. Who do you got this week?
Let's start at the quarterback position, and Zach Mettenberger going up against Pittsburgh. It's a home game on Monday night, which is always good, like having that home game Monday night bit going. But more importantly, the Steelers have allowed multiple passing touchdowns in 4 straight games. And over those 4 games, they have faced 3 inconsistent passers. Mike Vick, Joe Flacco, and Ryan Fitzpatrick, and those guys were able to get it done. Their cornerback, their best cornerback, Ike Taylor, isn't going to be available to help the Steelers secondary this week. He's going to miss another game. And the Steelers could get ahead really early against a bad Titans defense and force Mettenberger to throw a lot of passes. So that angle might help as well.
San Francisco, maybe a place to look for a little sleeper running back. He didn't get a lot of action last week, but Carlos Hyde.
But he did score last week. Frank Gore has been lousy. He hasn't topped 3.5 yards per carry in a month. He's scored once in his last 6 games. That's it. And while Carlos Hyde isn't getting a lot of work, he has been the better of the two of them, including averaging 8 and 9 yards per carry the last 2 weeks. You know, it's super risky to guess which game in which the torch might pass from Gore to Hyde. And I'd like to think that it could happen this week, though. Hyde scored last week with just 4 touches and goes up against the Giants. They're allowing the second most yards to opposing backs, 124 per game. So maybe even if Gore still gets the majority of the work, Hyde might do well enough with his limited carries to have a good game. Only 2 teams have allowed more rushing touchdowns than the Giants, and they've allowed rushing touchdowns in 7 to 9 games. So the matchup feels like a good one for Hyde, and maybe this is the game when the torch passes.
Maybe, and if the Niners keep losing games, maybe that torch passes a little
sooner.
faster.
That's right.
Maybe a bit of a deeper sleeper at wide receiver, Andrew Hawkins in Cleveland. He gets the Texans.
Hawkins has emerged as the Browns' #1 wide receiver. He has topped 8 targets in every game but 1, and he's been fairly productive. He's reached 70 yards in 5 games this year. He's taking half of his snaps out of the slot. That puts him on Houston's Kareem Jackson this week, against whom opposing quarterbacks have a passer rating of 138. So there's reason to think that Hawkins could have a good game here. He's only scored 1 touchdown all year, Mike, but maybe this is such a good opportunity that he helps with catches, yards, which he's usually pretty good at, and touchdown.
Absolutely. So some very favorable matchups for Zach Mettenberger and Andrew Hawkins, and possibly some more opportunities for Carlos Hyde in that run-heavy Niners offense. Those are your 3 sleepers for Week 11, straight from Paul Charchian. Follow him on Twitter, @Paul Charchian, and follow us at Fantasy Victory.